Super Bowl 37 champion, Dwight Smith, who was a part of that team, 2 pick sixes. We all know what he did against the Raiders. But he joins us here in the Ronnie and T-Crash Show as we count down to Super Bowl Sunday. Dwight, Ronnie, and Tom here. How are you? Welcome to the show. All right.
We haven't come in right.
There it is.
Is that right? Well, we got a great matchup coming up with Super Bowl 55. Obviously, the Buccaneers are playing on their home field. They're not the home team, I guess. I guess you could say they're the home team, but it's supposed to be a neutral field. But just tell me, as a former Buccaneer, how surreal is this for the Bucs to be in the Super Bowl in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium?
That's a good question, man. I would like to ask some Tampa fans that question because I really don't know.
Well, I mean, this is something that no one's ever seen before. I mean, you're hosting the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in it. It's Brady versus Mahomes. I mean,
that was something I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said if the NFL wanted to have the home team in the Super Bowl, this would be the perfect year. Pandemic, people can't travel, so it's not a shock to me.
How big of an advantage do you think it will be for the Buccaneers not having to travel anywhere? Because obviously, when you were in the Super Bowl.
That's not no advantage. I don't have no advantage.
No advantage? Okay.
No.
All right, so
that's like saying they have advantage at every home game during the year. So, I mean, it ain't like they won every home game, so it ain't much of an advantage. Y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So, I don't get into all the X's and O's and talking, man. Like I said, I played in the game. I set a Super Bowl record, and we knew every play they was running before the game started. So, hey, who am I to say?
Well, tell us about that week leading up to the Super Bowl, because that was the big thing. Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach at the time. Obviously, John Gruden had just come over. Tell us about that week of preparation leading up to the game and how it was executed by you guys. I mean, you could know which plays are coming. And
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice come out and say that they made them run John Gruden's offense?
Yes. Yep. It was his offense, and you guys knew exactly what was coming. Did you know every single play?
They didn't run that offense all year, though. Ain't it odd that you would run it when you're playing against us?
So did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment. So what's the most entertaining Super Bowl? The Bucs in their first one against Patrick Mahomes. Has nothing to do with if these are the best teams, because we know that these aren't the best teams. The Bucs are not the best NFC team.
So who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
But the Bucs beat them at Lambeau, though. I mean, the Bucs proved it. They went there. They beat Aaron Rodgers at his place.
You can say what you want, man. Like I say, the game ain't decided on the field.
But the Bucs beat Green Bay like 38-10 at Raymond James Stadium in the regular season.
You're not listening to me, man. You keep saying
So how is it decided then if it's not on the field?
The Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007. I had 2 pick sixes. One I took back 93 yards, another pick up there in New York. We beat them 40-something. We didn't have Adrian Peterson. They went on to win a Super Bowl. Like, you go for who beat what and how? Like, come on, man. Stop that.
All right, so how do you see this one playing out on Sunday?
It depends on when Vegas make that call. How Vegas ain't going to lose the most money.
So do you think the Bucs' original Super Bowl that you were a part of and won was illegitimate?
I think everyone is.
If you don't mind me asking then, and we obviously appreciate giving us a little bit of time, why do an interview for the Super Bowl if you don't believe that it's set up the right way?
Y'all asked me to. Don't nobody call me no other time until Super Bowl come, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Did anybody, when we got on the phone, say, hey, how's your family doing? How your kids doing? No, none of that matters. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion.
And I appreciate that. We do.
We do.
I mean, that is our job, though, is to talk sports. I mean, it's not personal.
So what is your honest...
job to be real.
We understand that. So what is your honest opinion of Tom Brady being in 10 Super Bowls?
Good luck. A lot of luck,
Okay.
Because, everybody say Tom Brady, but if I can remember, there's a lot of kickers kicking kicks for him to make it there.
Well, Tom Brady did put him in a position to make those kicks.
So did Jim Kelly, but his kicker missed the kick.
He did. He did miss the kick.
Right. He did.
He did miss the kick. He lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
But it's Jim Kelly's fault, or it's not Tom Brady's fault if his kicker do. Like, come on, man. boy, man. We break stuff down like it's so small. Like, this is the only reason that it happened. Like, come on, man.
So the reason you guys won the Super Bowl wasn't because of your outstanding defense. It was because that's the way it was predetermined? That's what you're
Well, I mean, if our defense was so outstanding, why we couldn't beat the Saints that year? Saints beat us twice. So why did the Oakland Raiders say, we're going to go in with the Saints game plan? Because they had Deuce McCall, they ran the ball down our throat. Why didn't they come in and say, we're going to do the same thing?
All right, D.
Now there's no more one to talk.
Well, we don't know what else to say.
We're just caught off guard a little bit. That's all.
A little bit.
To be honest with you.
Let's talk about the fact that the Lions made Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders give back money, but they traded Matthew Stafford when he wanted to be.
Yeah, well, hey.
Barry Sanders didn't want to play for John Ross. Let's
not talk about the real things, man. Let's just talk about that. I got you, man. I got you.
Well, Barry Sanders didn't want to play for Bobby Ross, but that's another story for another day.
So
him and Calvin Johnson both asked to be traded. They wanted to go somewhere where they could try to win. They made them retire and give some of their money back.
All right, so let's, for just a second, I just want to get your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and what he's done at his young age.
It's great, man. I mean, the key for me with most teams is let's see how your team performs after your quarterback rookie contract kicks in, after, he's off his rookie contract.
So what do you think about Jameis Winston's time in Tampa Bay now that he's in New Orleans?
Never liked it. Now, back to what I was saying. We watched the Seattle Seahawks be good until they paid Russell Wilson. We watched the Packers go to the Super Bowl until they paid Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles would win. The Rams would golf. So, you got to try to do it while you're on your rookie deal, unless you got Tom Brady as your quarterback.
All right, so how do you see this game playing out? I guess it's you already told us, right? It's just depending on what Vegas wants it to be, right?
Yeah, the New England Rams game 10-3, man. Who thought that was happening?
All right, Dwight, man.
But now the league is making all new kinds of headlines for different reasons, and none of them are good for the sport. From Taylor Swift's romance generating more buzz than anything happening on the field this season, to a fan who might be an NFL plant to generate a viral moment, and to a seeming increase in questionable penalties at questionable times, the NFL is feeling more fake than ever before. And it's becoming more of a tailored production put on for viewers, rather than just bringing us the competitive sport most viewers want to see. Now, this isn't our usual area of coverage for this channel, but we figure that it falls within the realm of entertainment, so why not step up in the pocket and take some downfield shots at the NFL? And just before we get into our 4-minute offense, remember to leave a like on the video at the end if you liked it, and let us know in the comments how you feel about the 2023 NFL stage production we're watching. And jumping to the other half of Kel Swift, let's take a look at Travis. Right off the bat, if this isn't a completely organic, real relationship, why pick Travis Kelce, you might ask? Well, in short, Travis Kelce is a marketable guy who's no stranger to the spotlight. He's even had fake relationships before when he had his own celebrity dating show. He appropriates the right culture while having a bit of a white savior complex, and to top it all off, he supports the right causes at the right times. The guy is even a fake tight end. He doesn't line up with the linemen, he doesn't run block, he's just a third or fourth wide receiver. But labeling him a tight end ensures he gets to be called the best tight end of all ever, instead of saying the truth, which is that he's a good receiver. But what really makes this whole thing reek more of a marketing deal than roses and lavender-scented candles is the timing of their blossoming love. This whole relationship kicked off right near the beginning of the season, just after Taylor's massive Eras Tour ended, just before the theatrical release of her Eras Tour movie, just before the release of Travis Kelce's brother's documentary, which Travis features heavily in, just as their mom is filmed with Jake from State Farm wearing a hat promoting her son's podcast, and just at the release of the newest string of TV commercials featuring Kelce. Wow. Unbelievable timing. Really. And the coverage of this has been completely shameless.
With Travis's mom, Donna.
Put the rumors to rest. I think they are officially a couple, and
Mahomes gives him time right to Kelce.
Arguably the best tight end in NFL history. Travis Kelce, you see, just kind of extra time, but they just flat out leave Travis Kelce uncovered on the little wheel route right on time. And
Right on time is correct. Imagine that. Right after running the intro about Taylor Swift and connecting her to her new beau on the field, the very next play the defense just forgets to cover the best tight end in the game who gains some nice yardage. Yeah, right on time. But why? Why go through all of this and pull these two celebrities into the mix? Money, of course! The league has been unabashed in its courting of Swifties and trying to bring a new demographic into the mix to increase viewership numbers and peddle more merchandise to an all-new customer base.
Back to Taylor Swift. The Taylor effect is real. Travis Kelce gained almost 900,000 new followers on Instagram. There's been a 400% spike in Kelce jersey sales. And then there's this. Hundreds of orders for customized Chiefs jerseys like that one.
And sadly for people who love the sport, it seems to have worked out swimmingly, meaning this is probably far from the last marketing stunt of its kind that we'll be subjected to. Really looking forward to seeing Khloe Kardashian beef back up and try out for a D-line position with the Rams so she can stay relevant. Or for Beyonce to start working as a linesman. Fake relationship or not, this isn't football. This is the kind of Entertainment Tonight gossip drama and celebrity worship that people watch football to get away from. But yet another form of escapism is beginning to show all the hallmarks of a hijacked brand, just like we see in modern iterations of fantasy shows, where things are changed and adapted to appeal to a new demographic, while the old demographic who solely supported the brand up to this point is told to shut the fuck up and take it. And just as a side note, have you ever met Swifties and heard what they think about her 36 exes? This guy will be tarred and feathered and hung up from the goalpost when their contract expires. I mean, when they break up. Then, just a few weeks later, once the Travis Swift fervor started to die down, we were non-consensually introduced to this passionate fan who was caught on camera having a psychotic episode in support of her hometown Chargers. Now, right off the bat, something doesn't feel right with this one simply because this is the Chargers we're talking about. No one cares about the Chargers this much. So the camera cuts to her a bunch of times during the game as she continues to melt down emotionally at every moment on the field. Then the memes started flowing that night. Then the media attention followed the next day, and there were interviews the next morning where she talked in depth about how she's handling the naysayers who are calling her an NFL plant. How on earth does she receive all of this supposed fame and backlash, and most importantly, perspective on the matter, 12 hours after going viral? And she was probably asleep for at least 6 of those hours too. How has she heard all of this outlandish backlash in that amount of time? And then the next week, she's halfway across the country in the front row to cheer on the Chargers, and look at that, the cameras find her again. So this person travels from California to Missouri for a Chargers game? Sure, that seems normal. And I'm sure it had nothing to do with getting this superfan in the same stadium with the other totally organic fan, Taylor Swift, who was there that day. And then we find out that this superfan was once a Vikings fan. Well, that's something. But I mean, it's not really that big a deal. What's weirder about it is that less than 24 hours after we ever learned this woman exists, people were coming out of the woodworks to talk about how completely real she was. People were here to let everyone know that her son played for the Vikings Pee-wee team, so that explains the jersey. Of course, when that comes out 10 hours after she already attributed the picture to her growing up in Minnesota as a Vikings fan, it looks a little weird that a bunch of people are popping up and vigorously defending this woman who's apparently completely unaffiliated with the NFL. And less than a day after her meme was born. It almost kinda feels like a PR campaign that was ready to help push a story and swat aside anyone who doubted the narrative. But having dual allegiances isn't really that big a deal in this whole fiasco. The fan went on to clarify that she's been a Chargers fan for 20 years, ever since she moved to LA. Well, the Chargers were in fucking San Diego for 14 of those years, so that's also something. Yeah, sure, the Chargers were the closest team to LA at the time, but LA and San Diego are not that close to each other, and the commute is a real bitch, so that's still just another question mark. Oh, but look, Matt Leinart is here to weigh in on the matter, and he confirms that the fan is real, and she's a diehard fan from Orange County. Well, I can confidently tell you from personal experience that no one who lives in Orange County would ever call it LA. Ever. And even the NFL putting out stories about this fan being a plant would be part of a PR campaign like this. So something stinks with this whole thing, and it's not just the Chargers' record in close games this year. And the goal of planting some superfan like this and giving her airtime is to capture a viral moment and show viewers what the ideal fan, looks like. Someone who just gets wholly consumed with the league, with their team, who needs to buy all the merch and go to all the games. Even the ones halfway across the country. Money is no object when it comes to rabid fandom, right, consumer? And there's plenty of cause for concern with the on-the-field stuff too. Foul calls are softer than ever, and it's starting to look more and more like flag football, and just in time for the announcement that flag football is coming to the Olympics. Yippee. And the timing of these soft penalties has been grabbing negative headlines as well. I mean, the last 2 Super Bowls both came down to questionable penalties right at the end of the game that directly led to the eventual Super Bowl winners taking the lead.
James Bradbury, they're going to say he grabs him. He's got his left hand on his back. I don't know. I think you let him play. Obviously, Mahomes thought he saw it. I think you let him play.
10 more years of this kind of downward trend, and the phrase "let them play" will be a thing of the past. And on this subject, boy do the Chiefs always seem to get just what they need to win and remain marketable. Which is important when Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are in every other commercial on television.
Just lofts it up in the air. And interference call is on the way against Snead.
There is no foul for pass interference.
So here's Snead after the play. He takes his helmet off on the field.
And
they're
now
telling
you have a helmet off,
did.
and you would penalize them after the change of possession, and that is a foul for that.
And you saw one official say, put your helmet on. And even an official told him to put it back on.
By the way, how much fucking money does State Farm make to run this many commercials? My gosh. With all of these different issues coalescing into the spectacle that is the NFL in current year, it just feels fake as fuck.